Okay, so today we'll just try and get an overview of what is happening. I'm not sure if I can help yet, but we'll see what we can do, okay? So I'm happy to hear more. If you want to give me some more detail, and we can go from there if you like.
Yeah, that sounds okay. I guess the biggest thing is that I just feel really empty most of the time. I don't have much motivation, and even things I used to enjoy just don't really seem to matter anymore.
All right, happy to dig in, see what we can do. So was there a particular time you can recall when this kind of feeling, this emptiness began?
Yeah, I think it started a few months ago after I had a big change at work. I took on a new role, and ever since then, I just haven't felt like myself.
All right. What kind of job, what kind of role is it?
I'm a project manager now, and before that, I was more in a support role. So it's been a lot more responsibility, and I just don't feel like I'm handling it very well.
Okay. Is it
Yeah.
a kind of field, industry that you're interested in?
Yeah, I thought I was. I chose it because I wanted a bit more challenge, but now it just feels really overwhelming, and I'm not sure if it's what I actually want anymore.
Hmm. All right. And just maybe you could tell me a bit more about these feelings specifically, this emptiness, and if it's a persistent thing throughout the day or if it comes and goes, what it feels like, kind of sensations are involved.
Yeah, it's pretty constant, honestly. There are moments when it spikes, especially in the afternoons, but even when I wake up, I just feel this weight. It's like I don't really have the energy to do anything.
Okay. Right. And do you believe that that has affected your work then? It's made it even more difficult, or it's a consequence of you feeling like you're already not doing a good job?
Yeah, I think it's both, really. I'm having a harder time staying focused, and then because of that, I worry I'm falling behind, which just makes the whole thing worse.
Mm. Is that true? Is it the case that you are behind, or if you had any feedback that would indicate that?
I haven't gotten formal feedback yet, so I think it's mostly just this fear I have that I'm not doing enough. But every day, I just feel like I'm falling short, even if people haven't said anything directly.
Hmm. All right. Is that a feeling or a sort of belief you've experienced previously in other areas or the jobs or outside of work?
Yeah, it definitely does. I remember feeling this way in school sometimes, like I was never quite doing enough, even when things were going okay on the outside.
Hmm. Interesting. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's really important that you don't just dismiss that feeling, even if it's not fully justified. It might help to track your actual tasks and see if the worry lines up with reality, and we can keep talking about it, see how it evolves.
Okay, but in school, if you're saying that you didn't actually feel necessarily that you were doing badly, but nonetheless this thought occurred that you're behind or you're not doing enough, where do you think that came from? Is that something that someone told you or you heard? You describe that way?
Yeah, I think it was more subtle than that. I don't think anyone explicitly told me I was behind, but I remember comparing myself to other classmates, and I think that comparison just kind of planted this seed of doubt.
All right. So there were other people, your peers, that may have been, in your view, doing better than you, outpacing you in some way?
Yeah, exactly. And I think even now I still carry that sense that I'm always a step behind, even if it's not really true.
Hmm. Okay. Were your parents, were they interested, invested in your education?
Yeah, they were. They always encouraged me to do my best, and I think that pressure, even though they didn't mean it to be negative, it kind of stuck with me.
Hmm. Are they aware of what you're feeling, what you have been feeling recently?
Not really. I haven't told them everything. I think I downplay it when I talk to them, so they probably don't see the full picture yet.
What's the thought process behind that, the need to downplay it?
I guess it's because I don't want them to worry, and I also don't want them to think that I'm not capable. I just kind of keep it to myself because I don't want to let them down.
What would constitute letting them down?
I think letting them down would be if I couldn't keep up at work or if I stopped pursuing some kind of success, something big, something they hoped for me.
So is that something they explicitly told you earlier in life, that they have high expectations for you, or they expect you to pursue a particular path?
Yeah, I mean, not in a harsh way, but they always talked about wanting me to have a stable, successful career. And I guess I internalized that as this expectation I have to meet.
Okay. And why is that important, or why is that important to them? Did they explain that?
Yeah, I think for them, it was about security. They came from a background where things were less stable. So for them, having a steady career, that was kind of a safety net. And I guess I just took that on.
Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I do. I have one younger sister, and she's actually doing something completely different. She went into the arts. So I think she feels a bit freer, and maybe that makes me compare myself even more.
Is she aware of how you've been feeling?
Yeah, she's been really open about her path. I mean, it's kind of inspiring, but also makes me feel more boxed in. I think sometimes I wonder if I should have taken a different route too.
Okay, but the emptiness and the struggles, this feeling of overwhelm that you described earlier, is she aware of that?
No, not really. I mean, I've kept it mostly to myself, so I don't think she knows how deep it's been or how long it's been going on.
And is it for the same kind of reason as you described with your parents, where it's a worry of letting her down, or her being disappointed in some way about what you're doing?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think I just don't want to be a burden, especially when she's already kind of on her own path, doing something so different.
Right. Okay. Is there anyone other than myself that you've spoken to about how you've been feeling?
No, not really. I mean, I've had a few moments where I kind of hinted at it to a close friend, but I haven't really gone into detail. And I think I just keep it pretty surface level.
What's that like to keep it in, or what has it been like to keep it in?
Yeah, it's been really isolating, honestly. I mean, it's like I'm carrying this weight all the time and I can't really fully share it. So I just kind of keep it tucked away.
All right. Okay. Is there anything that you've attempted already that you found helpful in grappling with these feelings and this relationship with the work you're doing?
Yeah, actually, I started keeping a journal, just kind of writing down how I feel every day. And that's helped a little bit, just giving me some clarity. But it's still a struggle.
Can you tell me more about what you mean by clarity?
Yeah, I think it's just that when I write it down, I can actually see patterns or recognize when certain thoughts come up. It makes things feel a bit less foggy, like I'm not just spinning in my head.
Okay. How's your sleep?
Yeah, my sleep has actually been pretty bad. I wake up a lot during the night, and when I do sleep, it just never feels really refreshing.
Are there thoughts going through your mind about work or other things that precede you
Yeah.
falling asleep?
Yeah, I mean, when I lie down, I just start thinking about all the tasks I didn't finish or how I'm going to keep up the next day. And it's like a loop that keeps me up even longer.
Hmm. So is there any upside to thinking that way? Is it useful in any way, in your view?
I mean, I guess it's a way of trying to stay on top of things. Like, I feel like if I keep worrying about them, maybe I'll find a solution. But honestly, it just drains me more.
Hmm. Okay. So it's not making your day-to-day work any easier then?
Yeah, not at all. In fact, I think it makes things worse because I'm already tired from poor sleep, and then I just go into the bay feeling like I can't catch up.
Hmm. Okay. Just to go back to the time when you were in school, you were describing your parents and their expectations. So you would compare yourself to your peers, and there was this expectation that was placed upon you by your parents to become something, and so an education was a necessary prerequisite to that. So were they aware back then as well? Were they aware at all with how you were thinking and you were comparing yourself and the stress that was being produced by the pressure you were under?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I kept a lot of it inside. I didn't want to seem ungrateful or like I was failing, so I just kept it to myself.
Oh, okay. So to talk about it would have risked appearing ungrateful to them.
Yeah, exactly. I was afraid that if I said anything, they'd think I was being spoiled or that I wasn't trying hard enough. So I just kept quiet.
Is that something that was ever said to you?
I mean, no, not directly. It was more of a vibe I got, you know? Like they were always just very focused on success and stability, so I never wanted to disappoint them.
Hmm. Is there a time you can recall where you felt like you did actually disappoint them?
Yeah, I remember one time, right before a big exam, I just froze and I couldn't focus. And afterward, I could tell my mom was really worried. And that was the first time I really felt like I let them down.
How could you tell she was worried?
I think it was in the way she kept asking if I was okay. And she just seemed really distant, like she was trying to hide her concern, but I could feel it.
Hmm. All right. Seems like you have this capacity to pick up on a lot of indirect cues without them necessarily verbalizing this stuff.
Exactly. I tend to read a lot into people's expressions or their tone, and I pick up on those subtle shifts, even if they don't say anything outright.
Hmm. Is that a concern or a preoccupation you have in our conversation?
Yeah, actually, I do worry about that sometimes because I don't want to overinterpret or assume what others are feeling, and I want to stay grounded in what's actually said, even if I'm picking up on those cues.
Hmm. Okay. But the idea of, you've spoken about fears of disappointing people. Is that a concern you have here? Something you say might disappoint me?
Yeah, I mean, I do worry about that. I think part of me is afraid that if I'm not able to keep up or I don't handle things perfectly, then maybe I will disappoint you, or at least disappoint the expectations I think you have.
Okay.
Yeah, so I really appreciate you being patient and just letting me sort of unpack this because I think it's been something that's been building for a long time.
Well, it's interesting that if these high expectations are placed on us and we feel we have to adhere to these very high standards, and then you're saying in our conversation you kind of feel like you're doing the same thing where you got to be perfect for my convenience.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've fallen into that same pattern where I'm trying to get it all right so I don't disappoint you or anyone else, and it just adds this extra layer of pressure.
Hmm. Right. Okay. Okay, very good. So, just to pause for a moment, is there anything in addition to what we've already discussed, anything major you feel we've overlooked, which would be important to add?
Yeah, I think one thing is just that sometimes I feel really isolated at work. I don't know if it's because I'm not being open or if it's just that the environment is kind of a poor fit, but that loneliness definitely weighs on me.
Are there colleagues you have that you're sort of interfacing with regularly, or that you get along with, or what's the environment like?
Yeah, I do have a couple of colleagues I talk to, but it's still pretty surface level. And the environment is kind of competitive, so it's hard to fully relax or open up.
Okay, so there are people you interact with, but there's a sense that you're all sort of competing with each other, so you kind of keep your cards a bit close to your chest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want to let them see too much of how overwhelmed I am, so I keep a bit of a wall up just so I can stay functional.
If that wall were to be removed, what's the concern or the fear there, that how that would impact you or your relationship with your colleagues?
I think my fear is that if I show them how much I'm struggling, they might see me as unreliable or they might think I can't handle it. And I'm just worried that I'll lose any kind of respect or trust they have in me.
Hmm. Right. Got it. Okay. Okay. Well, we're approaching the end of our time, but just before we do wrap up, maybe I can just say a couple of things, given that this is our first session. And well, just before I get to that, maybe I can just clarify, have you done any therapy before, or is this your first time doing it?
Yeah, this is actually my first time. I haven't done formal therapy before, so a lot of this is pretty new to me.
Okay, no problem. So, yeah, before we wrap up, maybe I can just say a few words about how I think about the process, because I have a particular style that may not be the same in every therapist that you potentially could work with. So I'll just summarize how I think about the process and then overlap that with what you've shared today. And then I'd be curious to hear your thoughts in terms of just any expectations you may have if we were to continue, what you would like to get out of this, because that's ultimately what matters. But just before we get to that, I'll just say a couple of words about the process and then get your thoughts, okay?
Yeah, that sounds really good. I'd really appreciate that. I think just having a sense of how you approach things would help me feel a bit more grounded. So I'm looking forward to hearing that.
All right. So my general view is that fundamentally therapy is a relationship designed to facilitate a particular kind of conversation aimed at unearthing unconscious motivations you may have that govern your thoughts and your behavior. Some of which you don't like and that you wish to change. And through the conversation, we can gain an awareness of what some of those things are, which hopefully expands a range of choice and ultimately affords us a greater degree of freedom. Now, what we do with those choices is subjective. And I don't presume to know which choice is right for you, because I might not share your values. So we can certainly talk about trade-offs, costs and benefits, pros and cons of one decision versus another, but just with the understanding that you're the final decision maker. All right?
Yeah,
So,
that sounds
sorry, I just have one or two other things, and then I promise I'll happy to hear your thoughts. So, based on what you've shared, I certainly think there are things here that are within the scope of what therapy is designed to help with. You've mentioned a few interesting things here on sort of the cognitive side, firstly, in terms of how you think and this sort of rumination that is occurring that is perhaps in some way hindering us, our performance, but there may be utility to it that we're missing that maybe we need to explore. And then how some of the ways that we're relating to the work we're doing overlaps with or interfaces with our history and these expectations that may have come from our parents, and the role we see our role within the family as a whole, and our responsibility to achieve or become a particular thing, and how that is potentially impacting our perception and how we're ultimately feeling in the here and now. So there's a lot here, and if we were to follow up, I'd be curious to do maybe a bit more history, to dig into that stuff, if you think that would be helpful, along with some of the here and now thoughts that are occurring, and unpacking some more of that may also be useful. And I'm glad that the bit of journaling that you mentioned is something that you found helpful. So if that is useful, then by all means continue to do that. So those are just some general thoughts based on the brief time we spent together. But you let me know now your thoughts on that, and if there's anything you want to add or amend or clarify again in terms of what you ultimately want to get out of this process if we were to continue.
Yeah, that all sounds really good. I think that really resonates with me. I definitely would like to dig more into the history, especially around those family expectations, and just get a clearer sense of how that shapes me now. So I think that would be really helpful. And I just appreciate the way you're framing all of this.
Okay. But just to clarify one more time, because again, to reference what I summarized a moment ago, ultimately, therapy is about changing something. So obviously, you're not liking how you're feeling right now. So most proximally, that's what we're here to change, would you say? That you don't like how you're feeling, and you'd like to investigate why you're feeling that, and if there's ways to help us feel differently, or at least understand the origin of the feelings that might lead us in a different direction, that is also helpful.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I don't want to feel this way anymore. And I do think having some insight into why it's happening might give me a sense of choice, or at least some relief in the day to day. So yeah, I'm really glad we're starting this way.
Okay, no problem. Well, I appreciate you coming along and taking the time to share with me. And so now, I'd be happy to follow up if you think it will be helpful. And if you need some time before we arrange anything to think about it, just decide whether it's the right fit, that's perfectly fine. You can get back to me later if you like. I'm happy to proceed however you prefer.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I think I do need a bit of time to sit with it and see how I feel, but I will get back to you soon once I've had a chance to think it over.
No problem. Okay, well, you take care for now, and we'll be in touch, all right? Anything else you want to mention before we finish?
No, I think that's it for now. I just really appreciate your time, and I'll be in touch soon once I've reflected a bit more.
Okay, no problem. You take care. Bye for now.
Thanks. You too. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk soon.